We've seen plenty of boats stuck on the sandbars out here, but never anything that's a stolen fireboat.
Quite a story today. A suspected thief takes a Portland fire and rescue boat on a 2-hour, 40-mile trip down the river, only to get stuck and then arrested. And KATU News followed along the entire way. We had the only news crew on the scene when it all ended about 8 o'clock this morning. The theft happened at Portland Fire and Rescue's boathouse near the Hawthorne Bridge on the East Bank Esplanade, then went down the Willamette and to the Columbia River before getting stuck on that sandbar by Kalama in southwest Washington. The boat's back in service already, but not after some repairs. It was a crazy morning for fire crews, to say the least, as well as law enforcement and even our own morning live driver photographer. KATU's Joe English has more on all of it. Joe?
Yeah, following police and law enforcement scanner traffic and tips and other phone calls and even his own instinct, KATU live drive photojournalist Mike Warner eventually tracked down that stolen boat just as the suspect was being arrested. And KATU viewers who had been listening and watching to Mike's reports, well, they called 911. As KATU's live drive was making the rounds Thursday morning,
Rescue Boat 21 was stolen.
Steve Hulse was watching and heard about the stolen fireboat making its way down the Columbia River.
And so I just got up and looked out my front window. My wife said, "There's a boat stuck out here on the sandbar. It's got blue lights flashing." So I looked out and I just got my binoculars, and sure enough, it was the stolen boat. So I called it in. Thanks to you giving the information to the public.
Well, the Portland Fire Rescue boat stationed near the Hawthorne Bridge. Sheriffs say suspected boat thief, 44-year-old Dustin Knutson, rode it for 40 miles until he got stranded on that sandbar near Kalama, where the Coast Guard arrested him and several crews pitched in to tow the boat back to Portland.
As I'm driving, I'm thinking, how does this happen? A fireboat that's usually kept in a garage.
KATU photojournalist Mike Warner followed the action on the water, on the road.
When you hear a fireboat was stolen, that's the first thing. Any kind of boat stolen, but the main thing was it was being chased. So we heard that there was a pursuit, and anytime there's a pursuit, whether it's a car or a boat, you know, as a news guy, I'm like, I'm going there.
Now, KATU was the only news crew to catch up to the stranded boat and suspected boat thief. Knowing viewers acted on what he was telling them about the theft, for Warner, well, that was a professional and personal payoff.
It's good. It means that we're hopefully doing some good sometimes, especially in something like that, you know, alerting people to something that's going on. So it was nice to be able to help.
So the fire department says the two propellers on Rescue Boat 21 had to be replaced. So did the depth finder, but they say there wasn't any damage to the boathouse or to the bigger fireboat that's also kept at Station 21. In Southwest Portland, Joe English, KATU News.
What a morning, Joe. Thank you.
The man accused of stealing a Portland fire rescue boat was supposed to be in court this afternoon, but he didn't show up. He was booked into jail but then released. Investigators say about 6 a.m. yesterday, Dustin Knutson broke into Portland Fire Station 21 on the east bank of the Willamette and took their rescue boat. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office and the Coast Guard chased him down to in Kalama, where the boat got beached on a sandbar. They arrested Knutson, checked the boat for damage, and returned it to the station. Knutson's charged with unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, trespass, and criminal mischief.